District Attorney Lauren holds a press conference on the case against the banker who defrauded depositors and promises to punish the fraudster severely. At this time, the girl's father, Archer, has a heart attack in his home. The man gets into the car, suffocates, and before reaching the hospital, the car loses control and crashes into a tree. One of the journalists asked Lauren to comment on the death of her father, the information about which has just arrived. Lauren is shocked and ends the press conference. A funeral takes place, and afterward, the whole family and acquaintances gather at the family mansion. The girl's brother, William, who is currently running for election, says he must leave as soon as the will is announced. The girl states that the brother was her father's favorite. The girl enters her father's study, where she remembers her father teaching her how to play chess, think, and win. The reading of the will is attended by the deceased's wife, Catherine, William, Lauren, and her husband. The wife gets a fancy mansion and a seat on the firm's board of directors. William gets $20 million. And our heroine gets only $1 million. Soon, everyone leaves, and the lawyer tells Lauren that her father asked him to give her another envelope. The lawyer also says that the father was proud of his daughter, and the will has nothing to do with it. In the envelope is a box, and in the box is a thumb drive. And on the thumb drive is a recording of a father instructing his daughter to finish some work that he hasn't had time to finish. The man speaks in hints and mentions a certain bunker and a secret, and says that the truth must not come out. The girl looks at the key, guesses what it's for, and leaves. The husband tries to support Lauren, but the girl replies that everything is fine and leaves, saying that she wants to be alone. The girl walks around the estate and finds the place where she put a table for playing as a child. Also, the girl remembers that then her father forbade to go to this place and destroyed everything. Now Lauren finds there some kind of hatch, slightly camouflaged with rags. With the keys from the envelope, the girl opens the lock and sees behind the hatch a ladder leading somewhere deep into the bunker. Downstairs, a well-equipped bunker, a long corridor with several rooms, and at the very end of the corridor, there's another door that stinks. Lauren turns on the light and sees a man chained to the ceiling, and a table with chess pieces in front of him. The girl checks to see if the man is alive, and he starts twitching. Lauren runs outside in a panic. Once home, the girl wants to call the police, but then drops the call, and when the emergency services call back, Lauren says she made a mistake. William approaches Lauren, and seeing that the girl is pale, offers to share the money. However, Lauren refuses, offering to put everything into her brother's campaign. The mother stands on the balcony, and the daughter asks if the father had any enemies. Catherine replies that it's not her problem, and the daughter needs to win the case and help her brother with the election. Lauren sends her husband and daughter home, while she stays in the mansion. The girl takes a gun from her father's desk and goes to the bunker again. Lauren goes into the last room and sees that a man has moved to the mattress. The man is unresponsive to the girl and her attempts to talk. Lauren then takes the man's fingerprints. Suddenly, the man opens his eyes, but does nothing else. However, the girl is frightened and covers her face and walks away. Soon, Lauren, wearing a mask, returns to the bunker. The girl tries to talk to the man and asks who he is, but the man does not answer, but only asks, "Where is Archer?" and later calls himself John, which is an alias for unidentified people in the United States. The man knows who Lauren is and fully tells a brief biography of the girl, and is also aware that the father conflicted with his daughter because of her activities as a prosecutor. Lauren realizes that there is no point in hiding and takes off her mask. The stranger says that after all these years, he can already be considered a member of the family and asks to be released. Lauren hesitates and asks his name, and why is he in chains? The prisoner realizes that Archer is dead and that he was bequeathed to Lauren. The man doesn't answer questions, but promises to answer if they bring him a steak and salad and a 30-year-old whiskey, mentioning that he's been in the bunker for so many years. At the house, Lauren scans the man's fingerprints and sends them to her acquaintance Detective Sanchez and asks him to check them urgently. Then, the girl goes to a cafe where she orders a steak. In the newspaper, the girl notices an article that the Monroe dynasty is in danger but does not go into details. On the way to the bunker, the girl talks to her husband and promises to come back a little later. Lauren brings food to the prisoner. The girl tries to talk to the man, but he promises to tell her everything only after he eats. Lauren leaves the prisoner alone, and outside, the girl receives a call from her partner in the banker's case. The partner wonders why the prosecutor is absent from the court session, but Lauren advises him not to panic and not to let the opponent manipulate the documents. The girl returns to the bunker with whiskey and chocolate. The man begins to narrate and introduces himself as Morgan. The man says he was young and handsome when he was free. That's when he met Lauren's father. But back then, Archer was foolish and fearless and didn't know the value of money. They became partners, Morgan being the brains of the enterprise, and Archer the capital and connections. One day, the partners ran over a man. Morgan wanted to call the police, but Archer said they could get away with it. Archer then buried the body, and for his partner's stubbornness, he hit Morgan over the head with a shovel. The girl asks why her father didn't just kill Morgan. The man replies that he prayed for death, but gives no reason why he wasn't killed. Morgan says he would have kept quiet for freedom, but Archer didn't want to take that risk because of his paranoia. The man lies to everyone that Morgan stole money from him and fled to a warm country, and everyone believes him. The prisoner goes on to talk about a certain Sophia, Archer's mistress, whom Lauren's father called Gypsy Rose. Lauren says she doesn't believe it, but Morgan replies that it's easy to check. Morgan gives Sophia's address and says the lady was probably in the will too, and the lawyer should know about it. The girl leaves and calls a detective to check on Morgan Warren too. Then Lauren goes to the courthouse to work. Meanwhile, Morgan somehow manages to find a newspaper and reads it. After the hearing, Lauren goes to see Sophia. During the conversation, all of Morgan's words are confirmed, and it turns out that Lauren has a half-brother who knows nothing about her father. Lauren is shocked by this information. In the evening, Lauren goes to the lawyer's office and lashes out at him. The man confesses that this is her father's only secret, and if there's more, the lawyer will take it to his grave. Unfortunately, the man knows nothing about Morgan. At the campaign office, Lauren talks to her brother. The man says they're still a little ahead, thanks to the donations to charity from her father. But things are shaky, and the bad article in the paper about her father has tarnished their reputation. Lauren promises to come to the meeting tomorrow and support her brother, then leaves back to the estate. The girl goes to the bunker again, and now she believes Morgan. The man tells her that Archer had no one to talk to, and he told him everything. Lauren demands to know where the corpse is buried. The man says he can't remember the coordinates, but he can show her. The girl takes Morgan outside, handcuffed and at gunpoint. The man points out the burial site, and Lauren does indeed dig up a skeleton there. The girl then drives Morgan back in and chains the man up. Morgan begs the girl to let him out, saying he won't tell anyone anything. The man tries to evoke a sense of justice from the girl and vows to disappear from her life, because he just wants to live out his remaining years on the outside. Lauren promises to think it over and goes home. The next day, Lauren examines the banker's file and finds there the firm Gypsy Rose. The girl realizes that her father was somehow involved in these frauds. Lauren goes to the lawyer for an explanation. However, the man says nothing and states that the less you know, the more you sleep. The girl realizes that Morgan can easily ruin her whole family and begins to think that the prisoner must be paid off somehow. Lauren makes a deal with Morgan that the man at large will leave them alone. Then the girl meets with a lawyer and asks him to transfer her $1 million to an offshore account in the Caribbean and to make new documents for the man who suffered at the hands of her father. Lauren gives Morgan new hope and says that tonight the man will be free and compensated. In gratitude, Morgan calls Jeffrey Schultz's name and says it has to do with William's voter bribery charges. Although Lauren says that her brother is being slandered, Morgan declares that it's all true. The girl goes to meet her brother and, talking to him face to face, finds out that it's really true. The brother says that's how the system works, and that's how Lauren became a prosecutor. The girl yells at her brother and leaves. The girl frees Morgan, and the man grabs the White King from the chess table. At freedom, the man rejoices in the white light. At the airfield, The man declares that Lauren is a good man. However, the girl replies that with the help of his hair, she will be able to frame Morgan and accuse him of a bunch of unsolved crimes if the man ventures back. Morgan and the lawyer end up getting on the plane. Lauren goes to the bunker and collects all the evidence there. The detective calls Lauren, since he found Morgan's case by fingerprints, but the girl is unavailable. Then the detective sends the documents to the mansion, and Catherine finds this letter. Lauren enters the house and finds her mother looking at the photos from the file in horror. The mother declares that this, Thomas, and this man is a horrible person. Lauren realizes that she has made a terrible mistake. The girl goes to the airfield, but finds there only the corpse of a lawyer, on which lies a chess-white king. Lauren immediately goes home, but cannot find anyone, and with a revolver in her hand, continues to look for her mother. In the bunker, the girl still finds her mother unconscious. Thomas appears, turns off the lights in the bunker, and attacks the girl in the darkness. Lauren is knocked unconscious by the blows. The girl comes to her senses and discovers that she is now on a chain. Thomas reveals that he was the one who stole the poison meant for him and injected Archer, who escaped the bunker and died. And then, Thomas played on Lauren's pity by pretending to be weak and pathetic, and finally found freedom. The man also reveals why he was in chains. It turns out that 30 years ago, at a party, Thomas took advantage of Lauren's mother by force, but Archer caught him and beat him up. Archer was driving Thomas somewhere, but he spun the wheel and they hit a man. Thomas got out and snapped the man's neck. Thomas wanted to blackmail Archer, but Archer chained Thomas in a bunker to rot alive. Thomas beats up Catherine and also promises to take care of Lauren's husband and then her daughter. The man plans to lock both women in the dark in a bunker to rot there. Thomas declares that Lauren is his daughter. However, at that moment, Catherine reaches for Lauren's discarded gun and shoots Thomas in the back. Mother and daughter then douse the floor with gasoline and make their way out of the bunker. Lauren throws a lighter inside the bunker, and then both ladies look at the fire. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.